Prime Minister Modi is all set to meet with US President Donald Trump, and obviously it's coming at a very, very crucial time. Trump has just taken over once again as president, and there are crucial topics that affect India: trade, tariffs, immigration policies, defense cooperation. All of this is on the agenda when the two leaders sit down for the bilateral. And this meet also comes at a time when you're seeing President Trump imposing tariffs left, right and centre. During his 36-hour stay in America, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to hold bilateral meetings with President Trump in restricted and delegation-level formats. Sources also say that other than Trump, Prime Minister Modi could meet Elon Musk as well. Musk is likely to hold a meeting with Prime Minister Modi over Starlink's plans to start satellite broadband services in India.
I do believe it will come before the Prime Minister's visit tomorrow, and I will let the President discuss the details on the reciprocal tariff front. But this is something he believes strongly in, and it's very simple logic as to why the President wants to impose reciprocal tariffs. It's the golden rule, which we all learned when we were growing up in school. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and far too many nations around this world have been ripping off the United States of America for far too long, and that's why the President believes this will be a great policy that will benefit American workers and improve our national security.
It's wonderful that the Prime Minister is going to be back in the United States, arriving today. It was so good to see the Prime Minister back in 2023 when he was here for his arrival visit, and to sing the Indian National Anthem for the Prime Minister and my beloved Indian American community. It was a great joy to have him. So it's exciting that he's coming back to the States here today, and I know I'm going to visit with the President tomorrow. And, you know, it's beautiful to see this time in the world, the recent election of the Prime Minister, certainly re-elected overwhelmingly, and then to have President Trump back in office, winning by a landslide. So these two great leaders meeting again here in these first 100 days of President Trump's new administration. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing the Prime Minister.
But the biggest talking point from the bilateral is going to be what's really the takeaway on tariffs. And India is going to rely on quick concessions to prevent a tariff clash with America in President Trump's second term. For decades, US presidents, irrespective of the party, have prioritized building ties with India. India-US relations have always been seen through the prism of a rising China, and hence India is often seen as a natural partner. Under these circumstances, what would be on the table when Prime Minister Modi and President Trump talk trade? Here's a detailed report.
If the chemistry 4 years ago between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump is any indication, the two world leaders will get along well again. Within 25 days of Donald Trump's return to power, Modi will visit the White House, a move symbolic of the perceived close ties between the two nations.
The fact that the Prime Minister has been invited to visit the US within barely 3 weeks of the new administration taking office shows the importance of the India-US partnership, and is also reflective of the bipartisan support that this partnership enjoys in the United States. And the visit will be a valuable opportunity to engage the new administration on all areas of mutual interest.
However, the current US president is very different from the one in office 4 years ago. He has entered the White House guns blazing, implementing sweeping changes to American policy. He is also pushing for a more level playing field in trade, threatening tit-for-tat tariffs. And as he himself put it, India is one of the biggest trade abusers. Not only does India have one of the highest weighed trade tariff across the World Trade Organization, it also has a massive trade surplus with the United States of America, which has only grown in the past 5 years. Trump is not too happy about this. Some of his concerns, however, may have been addressed in Budget 2025, where the finance minister proposed cuts in import duties on high-end motorcycles, lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles, and equipment used for manufacturing mobile phone batteries. This will benefit American companies like Harley-Davidson, Tesla and Apple. The government is also reviewing import tariff on as many as 30 other items. Fresh from taking to the global stage at the AI Action Summit in Paris, Prime Minister Modi's agenda in Washington, D.C. is clear. He wants to prevent a trade war at any cost with the United States of America while strengthening the US-India ties. India is looking to revive a trade deal with the USA that was close to completion during Trump's first term. To sweeten the deal, India is also eyeing defense agreements covering transport aircraft, next-generation fighters, infantry vehicles and advanced drones. There are also talks of a deal for the US companies to supply nuclear reactors to India. Another pressing issue on the table is the growing resentment toward Indian immigrants in the USA. This, along with the issue of expanding H-1B visa program, are two hot potatoes the two leaders are likely to discuss in their bilateral meeting. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
And let's recap for you the images of when Prime Minister Modi touched down in America to a grand welcome from the Indian diaspora. Braving harsh winter conditions, members of the Indian community gathered outside Blair House to greet Prime Minister Modi and expressing their excitement over his two-day visit. Right after touching down, Prime Minister Modi got right down to the job and met with US Intel Chief Tulsi Gabbard. And Prime Minister Modi also spoke about the meeting on social media, saying that the two discussed various aspects of the India-USA relationship. The talks come amid tensions surrounding tariffs, mass deportation of illegal immigrants, and Trump's controversial Gaza peace plan.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Washington, D.C. He's a guest of President Donald Trump and therefore is staying at the Blair House, which is where Prime Minister Modi was received by members of the Indian community who were here. They spoke to us. There were some of them who said that they have expectations from Prime Minister Modi when it comes to taking India-US ties forward. Some from the Hindu community said that he should also address persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh, something that President Donald Trump has also been reiterating. But more importantly, the biggest meeting that took place tonight between Prime Minister Modi and the top government official of the United States of America. It was Director National Intelligence, just confirmed, Tulsi Gabbard, who met with Prime Minister Modi. And that's significant coming at a time when there are major allegations against officials of the Indian agency. How that's going to really pan out is going to be important. But at this point in time, at this juncture, it seems like there is positive momentum when it comes to certain decisions that have been taken, whether it is Foreign Corrupt Practices Act being paused, which could be a breather for Gautam Adani, or Tulsi Gabbard now coming and meeting Prime Minister Modi at a time when the Indian agencies have been battling allegations against them and their officials by US authorities. And more importantly, what's going to become of Indo-US ties under Donald Trump and the Indian Premier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In Washington, D.C., Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Okay, so the other big focus when it comes to the Modi-Trump bilateral is going to be on defense. US President Donald Trump has emphasized the importance of India buying more American-made military gear and weapons, as well as reducing the trade imbalance. This is when he invited Prime Minister Modi to Washington in January. India depends on Russia for nearly 60% of our defense equipment. But the war in Ukraine has added to doubts about future supplies. And India has also been looking more towards America to fill in. That's where the two countries can see a lot of developments, a lot of big news also coming in the next few months.
India is in talks with the United States for the purchase and co-production of combat vehicles, as well as finalizing a fighter jet engine deal. India is the world's biggest arms importer, and in this, Russia has been its traditional source. In January, when the US President Donald Trump invited the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi for a two-day visit to Washington, he suggested that India should buy more US-made security equipment. India and the US have been in protracted talks over the co-production of Stryker combat vehicles made by General Dynamics and also used by the US Army. They are also working to wrap up contract talks on co-production of fighter jet engines in India for the Indian Air Force. This was a deal agreed in 2023.
All the options are under discussion, and we certainly wish to expedite the transaction which we would like to have with the USA. Now the production line has stabilized, not only in HAL, but also the engine, GE404 engine. So we are sure that from 25-26 onwards, the LCA Tejas supply would be as per the original plan.
Officials of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited are set to meet in coming weeks with US officials and the aerospace unit of General Electric, the maker of GE414 engines, for talks to finalize the deal by March this year.
We are working with our American partner G company, which is supplying GE404 engine, so that their supply also gets streamlined in this year 25-26 and onwards.
New Delhi has started talks with the Trump administration on a plan to buy Stryker vehicles after they were demonstrated late last year for the Indian Army. The plan is to acquire a few hundred Strykers with the mounted anti-tank guided missile systems. This could help India to co-produce these locally in future. Since 2008, India has contracted over $20 billion worth of US origin defense equipment. In the first term of the US President Donald Trump in the Oval Office, India and the US made significant defense deals. Within the first 2 years of coming to power, India and US signed the foundational or enabling agreement COMCASA on the sidelines of the inaugural 2+2 dialogue on 6th September 2018. The Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement or BECA, signed in October 2020, enabled India to access high-quality satellite data for enhanced accuracy of missiles and armed drones, benefiting Indian defense capabilities. Before that, in Feb 2020, India and the US concluded defense deals worth $3 billion for 24 MH-60R Seahawk multi-role helicopters for the Navy and 6 AH-64E attack helicopters for the Army. 5 years later, once again when Prime Minister Modi and President Trump sit down together, defense would be one of the top items on their agenda for sure. Bureau Report, India Today.